It's freezing. Hello. Hello, welcome to the stream. 1 2 1 2. Oh, so if you're new to watching this channel, I do these live broadcasts every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. UK time. And you watch live through the channel on YouTube, and you can ask questions either calling in or writing through Skype. And my Skype is Rebekah Maroon. So just friend me on Skype, and then you're free to ask questions during the broadcast. Very straightforward. I'm not a professional person or YouTuber. I use a simple computer and I use my phone for Skype. So no fancy editing or things like that. So yeah. Hopefully you can hear me and see me okay. That's the main thing. I'm a little bit cold this evening. I've been out all week, so it's been a bit cold here. Just got back, so so the way that I normally do this is I just sit for a little bit and let the introduction happen, and then I open it for questions through Skype. That's the usual format, which kind of works. So So this is quite a this is quite a radical message. It's quite a radical message because because what's being spoken about in non-duality is the primary experience. So what's being spoken about in non-duality is what is actually happening, the raw experience of what is happening, which doesn't sound very radical, really, but it really is radical to point to and describe the actual reality, what's actually happening. Because humanity, let's say humanity, is the experience of being human seems to be about ideas. It seems to be about the abstracting ability of the mind to think about what's not happening, think about the past and future, that which isn't happening. So thoughts about something else. That is the normal way of human living, really, is to live in this abstracted reality of ideas. And the primary idea is that I am someone. I am someone separate. I am this person that I describe as this and that, this quality, this characteristic. I am this person. And there are other persons, other people. And we're all independent. So this is an abstraction. If it's really looked into, it's an abstraction, it's an idea. That isn't the actual reality right now. But there's someone, this character's experiencing. Experience right now is computer, is the sound of this voice, the sound of the children, the light, the cold feet, the cup in the hand. So point to these things, to point to the actual experience of what's happening is very radical. Very radical. It's the most simplest thing, yet it's so radical because of how the human has been living. And so because the human's been living in this abstract reality, this imagined reality, when this pointing to the actual reality begins to happen, there can be lots of fear, lots of different things appear. Fear, anger, panic, boredom even. Because it's a coming back to the actual experience, not living in a dream. The actual experience, which has been ignored or cut off from because of this abstraction of I, of me, my story. We imagine there's something else, something in the future to attain, somewhere to arrive at fulfillment in the future. And so there's so much investment, so much interest in that storyline of us, of where it's heading to. Even with spirituality, ideas of enlightenment, it's a future attainment that we hope to attain, hope to have, hope to experience, hope to own. And then there'll be completion, then there'll be peace, then there will be love and happiness. Then life will be okay. And that's not really what these messages are pointing to. It's not pointing to a future attainment of something. It's not pointing to a future happiness or completion in the future. And that's why I think there's so much joy and peace in listening to non-duality speakers, because what's being resonated with is this presence, this happening, not something in the future. kind of the hardest thing to hear, in a way. It's the hardest thing to hear, that this is it. And it can be misheard as well by the mind. Like, it can be interpreted as like, this is it, in a way of like, you know, fucking hell, this is it, like there's nothing else, this is it. Like a negative, depressing way of hearing it. But that's not what is meant by this is it. It's not a depressing thing, or depressing pointing. It's a love pointing. This is it. What you long for, what you imagine in time, is this moment, what is happening. There's nothing in the imagination of future for you. It's an endless imagination, an endless carrot on a stick. This idea of future attainment. It's not true, but it has to be seen. It's not true. Whatever the mind's promising, it's not true. That relaxation you long for in the future is right here, can only be here. The mind and appearance in this presence, in this moment, the mind's appearing, saying this, saying that. But it can only appear here and disappear here. And what is left? Here, this. All forms disappear, as they can only do. This is left. This moment, this presence is left. Life is left. Perception is left. This is what is longed for. You could say awakening is like an easing back into this. Easing back into what is happening. The sensations that are happening. The sounds that are happening. It's not something grand with whistles and bells and parade marching in front. Dong, 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 boom, 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 boom. It's so simple. Well, so simple in that it's all there is. It's appearing, it's happening. Life is happening already. Not simple as in the mind can work it out simply. The mind can get to it simply. It's complicated for the mind. It's complex for the mind. But this isn't a mental attainment. The mind doesn't get this. The mind's a functioning of being human. Let's say a functioning of the brain. But its functioning appears here also. What the mind says isn't reality. It's just a part of this experience. Thoughts, ideas. Part of this infinite experience. Like a flower, like a plane, a cushion, a bird, mud, smoke, a thought. It's no higher or lower. It's not better or worse. It's another part of life. So it's really quite ordinary what's being pointed to. It's really an ordinary thing. So, okay. I've signed out of a mess. I'll try and read it on here. So somebody messaged me this week about with a question, and I answered it already. But it kind of prompted this title. It was just roughly about anger being in conflict with this message, being in conflict with presence. If anger was arising, it was in conflict with this presence. Which isn't true at all. Emotions, feelings, sensations aren't in conflict with what's happening. They are what's happening. So rather than pointing to escape from that, get away from anger, suppress, get rid of anger, this is a different type of message. which doesn't exclude anything. It's directly pointing to what's appearing and saying this, this. The anger is it. There's nothing to be afraid of. Running away from the sensation of anger. What you're longing for is offering itself. It's offering itself, appearing as anger. And there's a rejection of it. So that was the question that I had earlier. So the body feels the discomfort, how to deal with it, allow it to burn. Well, that's the thing, it doesn't need dealing with. The idea of dealing with it is coming from this sense of it's wrong, it shouldn't be here. So I can't really, I have no instruction for you. I have no instruction. I'm more describing this peace, this freedom. This unconditional love, which includes all things, which is all things. It's so beautiful, this message. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. It excludes nothing. It can't. The human excludes. The human has preference. But this doesn't. Thank you, Prachi. I've answered you on YouTube. Thank you for your question. Barry. Hi, Barry. Oh no, Sten. Said Barry. Different names. Oh. You just said Barry without saying Sten. Okay, so Sten. Accept. Okay, it's a lot of writing. I'll try and read some of this. Hi Rebekah. Hi Sten. Thanks for doing the videos. So after having had multiple glimpses, I guess it's clear here that there is just this. I still get triggered easily though by other personalities and get really agitated when I encounter people with strong me's or trying to win arguments or whatever. This agitation obviously developed around my me energy, but it tends to keep arising nevertheless. What's your experience with these kinds of me remainders? And also I think it has been built up quite a bit of trauma in my body. I'm terrified of public speaking, for example. Is this also me neuroticism? What can you say about this from your experiences? Also, may I ask, what do you do in daily life? All the best, and thanks again. Um, um, I think these kinds of, as you called it, me remainders. Um, I think these difficult things that happen are opportunities to see what's happening. So to see why those people are triggering you, or to see why agitation's coming up. Um, yeah, to see what ideas about yourself, about others are still happening. What beliefs you still have that are playing. Um, yeah, it's just a growing up. Like you can grow and you can improve your experience. Like being honest and being open to that growth. It doesn't necessarily mean a separate person. There isn't a separate person. It's just these ideas of separation. So it's great how, you are aware that these things are triggering you. I think that there's been quite a bit of trauma in my body. There's a great book about that, actually. I've been really enjoying this speaker, Peter A. Levine, talks about trauma in the body and how humans can suppress trauma. So they suppress the fight, flight, and freeze in their system, causing various illnesses and stuff like that. It's really interesting to look into that. Peter A. Levine talks about it. So from my experience, I definitely have had a very traumatic childhood. Lots of trauma in my childhood, and that's still working its way up or through. I think non-duality has been a wonderful discovery, but I feel like I also have not suppressed, but maybe suppressed, but ignored the effect, or didn't get the effect of trauma in my life, how it's impacted me. So I have no issue at all with looking at trauma. I think it's very healthy and beneficial to look at trauma and release and heal trauma. But yeah, I'm still doing that. I'm still releasing trauma. And I feel loads better for it as well. For public speaking, that's something that I'm not crap at, but I wouldn't voluntarily put myself forward to do public speaking. I know I do this on YouTube, but and I have done talks. I have done speaking for other things I was doing in the past as well, and I was okay at it as well. The work things I used to do, public speaking a little bit, but it's not something that I would seek out to do lots of public speaking. But to be terrified of it, I would agree, is to do with trauma. That's trauma based, I'm assuming, through your childhood or through adulthood, who knows. But it goes back to what I was saying to Prachi, and this talk's title, this sensations are what's being run away from. And so looking at trauma and what that feels like, the terror, terrified, the terror, what that feels like. You can like theorize it or remember it from childhood. I was terrorized at home or at school or whatever, and discuss it in therapy, which is helpful in some way. But the body has that trace, that has that memory as well, which isn't tapped into through just talking about it in therapy. So this guy is talking about the sensations of that trauma rather than just the story of it, the memory of it is still alive in the body. And so I really support that, to go into that. Look for a trauma therapist or something, or, you know, yeah. What do you do in your daily life? What do I do in my daily life? In my daily life, well, primarily I am a mother, so I have 2 children that I am with most of the time. My days are full with being with them and taking care of our needs as a family. And through my own trauma, I guess, experience, being young and being at school, I didn't like it at all. And so hearing about unschooling and homeschooling was like, wow, that sounds amazing. If I have kids, to homeschool them, unschool them. So I did. And I was pulled towards doing that through my own experiences of school and growing up. And so I unschool stroke homeschool my 2 children, so I'm with them all the time, really. And I'm really enjoying it. It was hard as well at first, being a mother, that change, the death of your ambition, death of your life. It was hard, but yeah, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy learning with them, because I learn with them too. I enjoy I just enjoy them, this freedom that they have, that we have. I'm very blessed to enjoy their childhood with them, and we do fun things and meet friends and explore and learn about life. Yeah, so that's what I do. I cook, I shop, I drive a lot. Thank you, Sten. Feel free to, I wasn't sure what you, well, yeah. So this is it. What you long for lives here. Freedom lives here. Love lives here. So if here's uncomfortable for you, then that has to be investigated. Why is this so uncomfortable? Why is this not enough? Don't think to any more questions. Okay, so thank you, Sten, I think your name is. Sten. Thank you, Prachi, as well on Facebook, for your questions. I'm back next week at 8:30. Thank you for joining. Have a lovely week. I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye. 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 Bye.